Hello everyone and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 3. We are still playing as France and we have just about beat Germany. It's a fantastic feeling. I honestly didn't think we'd be able to push that far out of this front, but I guess they basically pulled as many troops as they possibly could off of the line to meet the Russian forces. We probably could have afforded to started pushing a little bit sooner, but I mean, I think it worked out fairly okay. I mean, this looks like fairly historic borders, to be entirely honest with you. We've basically been beaten to Berlin by about 100 miles, give or take. I mean, it's pretty good. I'd say we did pretty darn good. We're still facing major supply issues down here in Hungary, but I predict that Hungary will fold relatively quickly after the loss of the majority of the German supporting divisions. It'll be a question at that point of whether or not we'll be able to push up and take their victory provinces before the Soviet Union. And honestly, I don't think that's really in the cards. I mean, we need to blitz pretty hard, and we've already withdrawn all of our tanks from that front line, so I don't think that's going to be a possibility. Now, at this point in actual history, the Russians had just about pushed all the way into the borders of Ukraine, and had surrounded a German army down here in the Crimea. They'd also just opened up a big ol' salient in the Kursk area up here. They pushed right down through the middle in an effort to basically surround an entire German army group up here in the Baltic States region, which was successful. That German army group just basically stayed up there for the remainder of the war. The Soviets just entirely bypassed them. It was a very successful effort. I was wrong in the last few videos when I said that the Allies had pushed up to Rome. They definitely did not push up to Rome. In fact, they were still bogged down around the city of Naples at this point. But all in all, I think we're doing very well, especially compared to historically. I mean, France didn't even exist at this point, so yeah, we're doing good. The Americans have somehow managed to not get completely kicked out of the Philippines, but they are supplying all of their troops from this one port, and it's been pretty heavily damaged, so they're going to have some supply issues in the very near future, and it's looking like they're losing fights against the Japanese on land, so that's not going to go too well for us. Now, we are going to need to start thinking about shipping troops over here as a base for our future operations, and presumably helping the British defend their island assets down here as well. We need to kick the Japanese out of Kuala Lumpur and Singapore. Make sure to protect that. The Netherlands are at war with Japan, but they're not part of the Allies, which puts us in the interesting situation of being at war with the same people as them, but not really being able to station troops in their territory. Otherwise, it would be really nice to be able to use Batavia down here as a jumping off point, but it's not in the cards either. Now, we do have Pondicherry over here. It's just a level 1 naval base, but we can station our navy in there, and obviously we have the entirety of British-controlled India. So on top of the Suez Canal, I think we'll be able to get troops down to the Japanese areas just fine. Speaking of, the Japanese have pushed the Americans completely out of the Pacific when it comes to naval bases. Well, not completely. They still have Hawaii, but they don't have Midway anymore. They don't have Wake anymore. They've lost the islands that they took from the Japanese in this general area, and it looks like they're being kicked out of the Christmas Islands as well. So we'll see how well the Americans are able to control the seas down in this general area. But yeah, we might actually need to declare war on the nationalist Chinese. They are aligning towards the Axis, which is really kind of stupid of them at this point. Let's see, we're still influencing Yugoslavia, which I think is a moot point at this point. So let's stop influencing Yugoslavia and start influencing the nationalist Chinese. Where are they on this map? Just need to find them. There they are. Okay. They're drifting rather heavily towards Axis, but if we influence them, well, they're drifting less heavily towards Axis. It'll be interesting to see where they actually end up. If we end up I mean, we already have a border with them, so we have fairly good influence on them. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what will happen there. Let's focus on winning this war first. It won't be that difficult. If we can get to Graz down here, that would be spectacular. We are going to need to shift more forces down in this general area so that we can push in through Hungary this direction. But I think that the Soviets will be more than capable of pushing south once they redeploy their army up here. So, yeah, I think we're really just going to keep our units moving forward basically as quickly as we can. You are defending right now. Who are you defending against? This guy? Nope. Okay. Just, oh, right. We decided that we weren't going to advance over here because this territory is absolutely useless and I don't really care about it. So it's really kind of pointless to be attacking in this general area. But, you know, I mean, that's fine and okay and all that stuff, but we do need to get over to Hungary basically as quickly as possible. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to need to start shifting units in this general direction anyway. Let's just bring more people over here. See what we can do. See what we can manage. Let's do a small attack from here, and we'll support the attack down here, see how that works out for us. You're not actually involved? We are a little bit damaged. We are quite damaged. Let's do a supporting attack from up here as well with 2 of these units. This is a medium armor. You know, German armor. They're dangerous. We are getting rid of this, which is nice. Looks like 40,000 as well as a significant amount of their general staff. Are you actually going to relieve Berlin? Oh, that would be fantastic if you relieved Berlin. I don't want to attack him because he's not retreating at this point, and if I attack him and force him to retreat, then he'll just get squished and we'll take him captive. But if he actually takes Brandenburg, I want to move up in that area, see if I can maybe snipe Berlin from the Soviets. Wouldn't that be fun? We are being attacked here still, which is unfortunate. We are rather weak in this general area, but we do have more people we can push into this fight just to weaken their attempted relief efforts of the troops we have caught in this pocket here, which is 6, so about 60,000 German troops. It's a good surround. Can't really complain about it too much. And yeah, I think we just need to spread out and liberate as much of Denmark as we possibly can. Now, we are doing a very bad attack here. I don't think this is really intelligent of us to do. I was going to keep that attack up and wait for these units to be reorganized, but I really don't think that's very smart of us. Okay, so we did push them out of here, which is basically securing these units' fate. And yes, they did. They did actually... They liberated... Well, not liberated, but they broke the surround of Berlin. I wonder if we can sneak in here. Probably no. The answer is probably no. Alright, yep, there's 58,000 German, Hungarian, and Slovakian troops captured. And we are still getting more research capabilities. We might want to start thinking about researching more Navy. Like, I think that just the basics of land combat at this point are... Like, we should just focus on the basics of land combat, because the majority of our fighting is now going to be against the Japanese at sea. So it's probably time to shift our priorities a little bit. It's weird that the Soviets aren't advancing at all either. I'm not entirely certain what's going on there, but we do need to let our units reorganize just a little bit. We have a lot of reinforcements and upgrades we need to do. We keep... Oh, this is our deploy... Yeah, okay, we're deploying more troops. We're gonna... Yeah, we almost have enough production left over, enough IC left over to actually start building some new ships. That'll be great. Okay, we did take this province from them. Let's keep pushing. Yeah, they probably didn't have any supplies, so they just retreated immediately. That's fine. We've won the Battle of Kiel, but they are moving into that province. Oh, and we can't take this province because the Soviets took it. Fantastic. And now they're moving down to Lübeck. It looks like the Soviets can't really hold out against the Germans. I don't really understand what exactly is going on in this general area anymore. But I'd love to take Berlin. That would be hilarious. Just a little French salient here. They have a lot of troops in there, though. I'm sure that they're under constant attack by the Soviets anyway. Oh, it looks like the Soviets just won. Oh, no, okay. They just hadn't loaded in the number of troops in there yet. Okay, well, we're joining the attack. We do have medium armored, mechanized, and tank destroyers, so we might be faster than them. Okay, okay. Did we get it? We got it. That's surprising. We actually took Berlin. All right, well, hey, fall of Berlin, ladies and gentlemen. We have officially stormed Berlin. Now, the game is really bad about this whole thing. There should be like a little pop-up that says, hey, you've taken Berlin. Happy day, good for you. And then we'll get like a little bit of flavor text to read and all that fun stuff. But in the meantime, the entirety of the German army is gone. It's gone. The troops that they gave to Hungary as expeditionary forces still exist, but it looks to me like the German armed forces that were, arrayed in the world, defending their front lines, are basically just completely gone, done for. We need to strategically deploy over here as quickly as possible. To get started on the Hungarian front before the Russians can. That will result in loss of some organization, but that is a-okay by me. We also need to continue to push basically as hard as we can into south down here, even though we are going to be facing rather serious supply issues. We'll see if we can even move forward here. I don't know honestly that we can. And yeah, we're going to be losing some weird provinces up here because of who the actual owners of the provinces are and where the troops are located and all that fun stuff. But I'm sure we'll be able to handle it just fine. Nope, attack there. Just mopping up operations now at this point. Yeah, I didn't even need to move into Berlin. We must have forced them to surrender by taking some other province. Maybe we moved into Dresden, and that forced them to surrender. Maybe it was taking Kiel that made them surrender. I wasn't paying enough attention to actually figure it out. But hey, we saved Denmark. Denmark never got taken over by the Germans. It's fantastic. Very happy about that. And we are winning random battles, but not these battles down here. These ones are going to be tough. Yeah, and we are still suffering very serious supply issues, so it's going to be really stupidly tough battles down there. Okay, we have a stupidly large amount of extra leadership at this point, so we'll cut our espionage spending down to a flat 1 leadership. That gives us 0.15 spies per day. That'll be more than enough. We've been stocking up a stockpile, I suppose, of 27 free spies, so we can support some pretty intense intelligence wars against Japan at this point. We don't need more officers because we will not really be expanding our army or navy really that significantly. And right now, yeah, it looks like we have about 150% officer ratio, which is fantastic because 140% is the maximum bonus you can possibly have. So the 6 new officers a day will be more than enough for our just replenishing our reinforcements. At this point, we're probably going to want to research marine infantry. I probably should have done that a little bit earlier, but I mean, we didn't need it against Germany, so that's all right. And we have all of the British Marines that honestly we should probably give back to them, considering they're the ones that are being attacked in India and the ocean at this point, so that might be a good idea. We do not need this many diplomacy points. We need a maximum of 2 right now, so let's cut that down to like 2.5 just so we have some extra to spend, which gives us an extra 7, if not 8, research trees that we can go down, which is fantastic. Let's do, yes, that. We're doing fine on radar. Let's do, we'll sync one into encryption machine. I'm not going to do nuclear research because I don't have the industrial capacity for that. And boy, we are just so far behind in terms of our ships. I do think we need to focus rather hard on aircraft carriers at this point. Like, we can't afford to be doing all of this nonsense, so we're going to not anti-aircraft. We're going to do hangar, we're going to do armor, large warship radar. That's all good. And then for escorts, we're going to go light cruisers, destroyers, just because they're relatively cheap and they do the job fairly well. So we're going to do 2 on here and 2 on here. Then we're going to do small warship radar and anti-submarine warfare. I doubt we'll need all of those, but that brings us up to more than enough research. And we'll cancel other research projects as they come up as we need to. So yeah, this is all going fairly well. Okay, we are still actively using those troops, so we'll wait to pull off the British Expeditionary Forces just for now. And we'll start, we're going to need to start reorganizing our army, figure out who we're going to want to send over to the Japanese front first. Which shouldn't be that bad. Awesome, better infantry weapons. Yep. And, I mean, we're still researching as quickly as we can, so everything's going just fine. It looks like we've lost some leadership points. I'm not entirely certain why, but that's okay. Infantry support weapon. Oh, did I already look at that? I think I already looked at that. Yeah, okay. We're fine. We're all good. Now, Germany didn't actually surrender, unfortunately. Otherwise, this would not be, hashed lines like this. Germany is a government in exile at this point, which basically means they have no land to control and exist only as a government, presumably in some other power. Like they probably ran away to Slovakia or even Hungary. Now, Slovakia will surrender just as soon as someone takes Bratislava over here, and it looks like the Soviets are engaged in doing exactly that. So, presumably they'll surrender fairly they it looks like just now the Slovakians have no more victory provinces. They don't have any war goals on them. I'm gonna puppet them. I'm wondering if that'll actually fire. Probably not, because the Soviets took their victory point. But at the very least, we will have less Slovakian troops to deal with. Yep, there we go. And the Soviets just flat out conquered Slovakia, so that'll be interesting to deal with later on. We do have more upgrades to do for all of our infantry. It looks like the Soviets are trying to cut us off down here. Another battle down here against Hungary. Always a good thing. And yeah, I'm not worried about Yugoslavia anymore falling to the Axis side. Although I suppose they could, it is still a possibility that they could join the Axis. Wouldn't that be silly, though? Yep, doing all good. You guys can all move down here to Kiel just to bide your time for a bit, and we can't start moving in for another, looks like 2 days, because I did strategically redeploy them. Basically, I made them take railroads, so now they need to unpack everything and move into the right positions and get everything situated and all that fun stuff. That makes sense. It's just a little bit frustrating sometimes. But yeah, if we can push from the south, take as much... at this point, we're still retaking Romanian land, unfortunately. But I don't think we'll be able to release a Romanian puppet state or, liberate the country of Romania until Germany actually surrenders and we actually get control of this territory. At this point, I don't think... Yeah, we can't release, the East German Republic, or, well, it wouldn't be the East German Republic now, would it? It would be the West German Republic or something like that. We can't release any states in Germany right now, so we're getting some pretty nasty modifiers for all of this land. We are doing a collaboration government. Now, since we're a democracy, we don't have very many options here. We can do a military government or a collaboration government. Basically, we're getting 45% manpower from all of our occupied German provinces, 5% IC, 30% leadership, and 25% of the resources. If we want to increase all of those, we can by going over to a military government, which might be a good idea except we're not really running out low on resources. We're doing okay on IC, and an extra 15% wouldn't really be that big of a deal, but it would decrease actually our manpower increase from these occupied provinces, while also increasing partisan support, which is sort of a backwards way of making it more difficult for you to get your supplies through here. It's not really good at telling you what these partisan numbers are doing, but here's the partisan map mode. There's minor revolt risk in some of these provinces, and that's reducing the rate that I can transport supplies through those provinces. It kind of is unfortunate, but you do what you can. We're going to try to sneak in through here and get to as many Hungarian victory provinces as we can before the Soviets. Unfortunately, there's this one, there's this one, and this one, and we only realistically have a chance to get to Pécs down here. Maybe we can get to Budapest if we are lucky. But if we continue to push from all directions, hopefully, like, maybe we can get up here, but I doubt it. It's already on the Soviet front line. There's really no way we're honestly expecting to get the Hungarian victory provinces taken. Yeah, they are in full retreat, probably to cover the new front that they have. We do need to keep some units stationed in Europe now, in France, in Greater France, or whatever you want to call it, just in case the Soviets do decide to attack us. That would be really stupid of them. Honestly, they could probably beat us, but I would not like that at all. Like, that would be an interesting end to this this series. I don't think that, like, we only have 19 manpower right now. We cannot reinforce our losses. It would be absolutely horrible for us to also now need to fight the Russians. That would just be atrocious. So we'll see what we can do about taking some Hungarian land, making sure that it is liberated by a democratic power rather than a communist power, because this is a game about ideology. But yeah, it's looking like they're doing the intelligent thing and attempting to cut off our line of advance. It's funny, allies not really working on the same team to a large extent. But yeah, it looks like we've mopped up the front. There's no more small scale operations going on in here, and we're probably going to need to pull these troops off of down here if they can't sneak past what I believe is a Soviet motorized division. So we'll let the Soviets clean up Hungary. Oh, it looks like they will let a few of us pass. But yeah, we're going to stop our advance here rather than move into Soviet territory. We'll see if we can sneak our way around. I know you guys have horrible supply, but I really do need you to get moving. I'm only going to put one of you up there. It's winning more fights. Running out of supplies. Yeah. I mean, it happens, you know. What can you really do about it? I am still waiting. Like, any day now, it's going to give us that Berlin has fallen notification. But I guess we'll see. We'll see exactly when. Honestly, it's giving us a decent amount of manpower right now. That's pretty nice. That's a lot of manpower. Oh, that's probably before that negative 65% penalty is applied to us. So it's probably not that much manpower. Okay, we're going to keep researching these, and I am going to bump them all the way up to the top, even though that means we're not working on all of our naval researches. And I also need to work on basing. This naval base efficiency is going to be... I mean, it's another one of those things that I have completely neglected. Remember when I was... it's not in naval map mode, it's in supply map mode. Yeah, right here. The required daily supply is 251, and received supply is 91.88. This port here can ship in 47.88 units of supplies and fuel per day. So, of the received supply that Constanta is getting, which is the port that we're supplying all of our troops, all of these troops is being supplied from our base in Constanta over here. We can ship in 47, just about 50 units of supplies every day. that is modified by our naval base modifier down here, which is controlled by basing. Presumably we have 1 rank of tech. Level 2 will give us plus 20%, so presumably we only have a 10% bonus at that point right now. So a 10% bonus will be an additional 5 units of supplies every day, which is a significant amount when you consider that this unit requires 4 units of supplies. So each tech that you research in basing allows you to supply another full and supported infantry division from the same rank naval base. And this is, what is that, level 6? Yeah, this is a level 6 naval base, which is fantastic. It's something that I should have been doing all along. I just have completely neglected the naval game as France, I went into this really firmly believing that we would be saved on land, and then we just did so much expeditionary force nonsense and landing here, we landed down here, we attacked through the land in Italy, but if that didn't work, we would have just landed right on Rome with some of those British Marines. It would have been fantastic. But yeah, I've just been so focused on the land aspect of all of this that I've been completely ignoring the things that probably could have helped us out. Actually, I'm going to pull that off. We already have 5 research projects going on this screen alone, so I'm going to pull one of them off just to let us focus on other things. I know you guys are low on supplies, but I really need you to keep moving. I know it sucks, and I'm sorry. I really am. Your units can't move forward, they can't advance, they can't attack if they have no supplies. So supplies are desperately important, obviously, but I don't really want to send more units down that way. I'm not sure how many. I mean, there's very good supply down here, but I'm not sure how many more units we really need down in this general area. So I'm just going to start pulling people back. I'm going to start pulling people away from the front line. We'll move all of you. Just pick a province in mainland France. It doesn't really matter at this point. We're going to be doing some radical restructuring of our army for what's essentially going to be the occupation of Germany and Austria, and the defense of our border against the Soviet Union here. Now, we are going to be fairly lucky in that the Soviet Union is redeploying probably a majority of its troops, or at least as many troops as it can support over here to the Eastern Front to deal with the Japanese over there. So that'll be a nice distraction for them. Yeah, they have taken Cluj. It's looking like they're moving in on Debrecen over there. Once again, forgive my crappy American pronunciation. Good job. Pronunciation of these words. But if we can take Pest, that'd be great. And we've had to go all the way around this lake that it doesn't give us the name for. So we'll move into Pest, and we'll do our best to get up here to Budapest. Maybe we'll be able to beat the Soviets up in that general direction. I'm not entirely sure. But we'll see. We're going to continue to push from the south here as well. We are defending here, apparently. No, we're not. There we go. Surrounded and destroyed that unit. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Continue moving forward, please. I know you have no more supplies, but it's looking like they don't really have any supplies or really don't want to fight us down in the southern area. Now, and yeah, now we've completely run out of supplies in the front, so we're going to need to wait for our supply trains to catch up with us. Yep. Fun stuff. Okay, we are still redeploying. Let's take a look at our fleets. Okay, still need more resources dedicated to production, but we are doing just fine on supplies, so I am going to seal a little bit of supply production. We have a humongous stockpile at this point. We really don't need to be producing much more. Okay, we've got the backup fleet, and we have the Mediterranean Task Force. Where's our main battle? Oh, it's all the way up here in Calais. Let's move the main battle all the way to... Do you want to move to Djibouti? I don't think we do. No. And I don't think we want to stop in Pondicherry either. I think we just want to move straight over here. Now, the Japanese do have a fleet in this port, but they've somehow managed to get bogged down up here, even though they're not facing any enemy troops. I don't know what's going on with their AI. So we're going to rebase all the way over to Saigon. We're also going to begin the process of rebasing our Air Force over here. Wait a minute. Okay, well, it's a very small airbase. And in fact, the Italians have already rebased their entire Air Force over here. So I guess let's find our naval bombers, and we'll only rebase those over there. See if we can take out some of the Japanese Navy with our naval bombers, which we can replace the losses of our naval bombers significantly more easily than we can replace the loss of our actual ships. We're up to 20 whole manpower, although we still need 4.5 to reinforce. It looks like the only victory province we're going to be actually taking from Hungary is Pécs down here, and that's if we can get there before the Soviets can. Now, more than likely that means that Hungary is going to surrender to the Soviets rather than us, which is unfortunate. And then they're going to, I know this is just flavor, but they're probably going to get the government out through neutral Yugoslavia, smuggle them into Turkey, and then through Persia, into Afghanistan, all the way. Well, this is part of the Comintern. I don't know. It's going to be one tough trek for them to get through to the other Axis power, but I'm sure that they'll somehow manage it. Ooh, are we going to even take Pécs in time? Basically, we have until the end of the day at this point. No. Alright, well, we didn't take Pécs in time. We just got a small section of Hungary to surrender to the French. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay. Now, we have Greece and Bulgaria on our side. We've got Bucharest now to deal with. Oh boy. Alright, well, I'm going to take a break here. Thanks for joining me once again. We have basically finished the war in Europe. It's done. Like, this is the extent that the Axis used to be. I mean, add Bulgaria and Italy in there, and basically there is no German government, there is no Polish government, there is no Romanian or Hungarian government at this point. They're all governments in exile, presumably hiding in Japan, and hoping that Japan can win its war against the Soviets and win its war against America, and pretty soon they'll be in a pretty serious war against France. And boy, if they lose that port, that's gonna be rough on them. Let's we don't even have range. That's 600 kilometers. We can only move 500 kilometers. Fantastic. I guess we're just gonna do some convoy raiding in as big an area as we can. We will need to keep an eye on these units just in case. Oh my goodness, there's actual naval ships. Let's actually just do a naval strike. See if these guys can actually take some of these units out. We don't have the benefit of radar down here, unfortunately. We haven't invested in radar or really infrastructure down here at all. So what was I saying? I was attempting to end this episode, right? I'm going to redeploy the troops along the border here, and basically decide how many men we need to deploy to do a little bit of damage against Japan. We only have a level 4 port over here, level 3, that's not a port, and the level 4 port. So we're fairly limited on the amount of troops we can actually deploy to this region. Probably 3 infantry corps, 4 infantry corps, Heck, we might just, because we're so bloody low on manpower, we're probably just going to deploy all of the British Marines that we possibly can over here. Since we're going to be doing amphibious landings anyway, that's possibly the best idea. But yeah, I'll do that off camera, and hope you join me next time.